This is What the Flock Radio's Birds of a Feather. We are an indie music-focused show rife with witty, fuck-laden, insanely interesting and unhinged banter. Our thematic exhibitions will confuse, infuse, and delight you, while our fascinating fun features fluster, flummox, fulfill, and thrill you. And I'm Professor P. Soup, one of the few individuals you're likely to encounter who does not offer my services as a life coach. Seems like that's a big thing now, you know. Although, really, I can't think of anyone more qualified to do so. But at the present time, there will be no offers. If what you hear on the radio these days makes you feel sick as a dog and limp and listless as a rag doll, well, it's nobody's fault but your own for refusing to draw the line and say no more, no more. You think, surely it'll get better any day now. Dream on. What it takes to find music that's truly amazing, and the kings and queens who make it, is to look up Birds of a Feather and other great independent music shows and just push play. That's what I do, and whenever you see me crying, it's with sweet emotion. Christina, introduce yourself, dear.
Oh, the Aerosmith references and titles make me so happy. Let's see if you can get this one. So, before I start, of course, I must say, I am the vocalist for the dark alt-rock band Ascent, and we are going on tour. The end of August, Northwest Tour. Wow.
I was going to bring that up, and I was also going to say, you got to get in and get some of that sweet-ass merch that they have.
Right?
Beautiful Ascent merch, and, with, like, ravens on them. I mean, their symbol, the raven, just so beautiful. I mean, I was trying to determine, because there are a lot of them where I work, the difference between a raven and a crow. Forget that shit. They're the same bird.
One's really big, one's sort of big.
Sort of big, yeah.
And they're both black.
One's like extra large, one's large.
That's correct.
They're both black. Oh, and the tail is shaped differently. No, my ass it is. Yeah. No, it isn't. I tried to figure that out. But
never more both of those bitches.
You know what's really cool about them is when you put several of them together. So if you buy a bunch of Ascent merch, you'll have a murder. Because a bunch of crows together is called a murder. And I've always wondered who was the smart-ass genius who decided, we're going to name this bunch of birds after the willful taking of a life for personal reasons, or vice versa. How did that happen?
It's fucking brilliant.
I mean, it was brilliant. One had to come first.
I just wish there was like a homicide.
A homicide.
Or a burglary.
But you know what? Speaking while we're on the subject, while we're off the subject, talking about animals, you know what a group of gorillas is called, don't you?
No.
This is the actual truth. It's called a band. And, knowing musicians, this makes perfect sense, actually. So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, my God. All right, well, there is a story in our town. Ghosts of broken hearts and laws are here. On the windy corner of the dirty street, I can see clearly most anything you want me to. I took too much for granted all the time, but I realize it now and I'll admit it. I'm sad in ways you never understood, but now the world that once was bright is empty and bare. I should have known I couldn't win.
So, that was very well done, but which 90s band that I know nothing about was that?
That's Johnny Cash.
Oh, no.
It's Johnny Cash.
I'm so abashed.
You are.
At having missed Johnny Cash.
That's Johnny Cash.
Wow.
Yeah. That's the Cash Man. That's the man in black. So, yeah. I have 17
of his albums.
Are you hanging your head in shame now?
I mean, totally. I'm like Tom Dooley. I'm hanging down my head and crying. Just call me Tom Dooley,
I'll call you the D.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, so that was just a little bit of Johnny Cash for you. Why not? What about bird banter? Well, I'm glad you asked, David. You didn't actually. Want to ask?
Telepathically, I asked.
Oh, that's what I thought. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. So, bird banter. I'll say it for the rest of the people, though, even though you know it's coming. We're going to be talking about James Hetfield's picks for the greatest singers of all time.
Metallica, James Hetfield, who we were
right,
who we were just talking about on Winging It.
Right.
The Camp Chaos cartoons portrayed him as pretty much a monosyllabic ape.
And he's
going
not.
Around. No, of course he's not. He's very eloquent and very charismatic.
Indeed.
It was like Napster bad and Fire bad.
That's not right.
But now I would think it would probably be some of the bands that they covered on Garage Incorporated, but not necessarily all.
And some of them might surprise you, and I'm going to just state the obvious. I feel that it's important in my duty. James Hetfield talking about greatest singers, Of what does he know great singers? Let's find out. I'm not sure. Because James Hetfield, well, perfect for Metallica isn't, exactly Freddie Mercury material or anything, but, it works.
But he could carry a tune if you give him one in a nice bucket. Hero of the Day. The guy can sing.
He can carry a few buckets of tunes.
He can definitely carry tunes.
But he's, if I'm thinking of greatest singers of all time, I'm interested to hear what you think of his list and the order of his list. So I'm looking for visceral response. I'm going to start at number 20. Well, not vomitous responses, but number 20 is Maynard James Keenan from Tool, from A Perfect Circle.
Oh, yeah.
I just gave him the finger, not the bat finger, but yeah, we know that David.
Didn't she just say she wanted visceral?
That was good. The eye roll was perfect too. I think the eye roll added something. Yeah. I'm going to skip a couple because I don't think that we know them. But number 15 is Johnny Cash.
Well, yeah, as it should 15. Be.
And number 13 hurts me because it's Freddie Mercury at 13.
Well, I'm glad he's there, and of course, Metallica did cover Stone Cold Crazy. And I'm glad to see he reveres. I know who else he reveres and who's going to be on the list, I'm sure.
He's 13 on a list of greatest singers of all time.
He wouldn't be 13 on mine, but I'm not going to get hung up on that, but I would rate him a hell of a lot higher
I'm
than
pretty
that.
hung up.
Yeah.
I'm pretty hung up.
All right, so who's 12 then?
Ronnie Van Zant.
Okay, now I can get hung up about Ronnie Van Zant over Freddie Mercury. Yeah, that'll get me. And he was not a great singer. He was not.
And number 11, Steven Tyler.
He is a great singer.
Above
Absolutely.
Freddie Mercury, no.
Not above, maybe not above Freddie Mercury, but he's a hell of a singer, though.
I didn't say he's not, but not above Freddie Mercury. And Robert Plant is number 10.
Okay.
Robert Plant is not a better singer than Freddie Mercury or Steven Tyler. He's a great singer, but not better. Go ahead. I'm waiting for the response.
No.
Agree, disagree?
No.
Where you at?
Well, I would probably take Plant over Freddie. Hard to believe as that is. He certainly. They both belong on the list. Maybe the order might be switched around, but glad they're there. Surprised about that Ronnie Van Zant thing. What the hell? Tell me Ronnie from Johnny, from Donnie and Lonnie and Bonnie. They all sound the same to me.
Ozzy Osbourne is number 9.
I knew he would be. Yeah, they covered Black
over
Sabbath also.
Freddie Mercury.
Oh, yeah, that's a tough one.
And that's a tough one? That's fucking ridiculous. Ozzy Osbourne is a piece of shit singer.
Well, I would certainly put him behind Freddie Mercury easily. I would put the band a lot higher up than I would put him as a vocalist.
We're not talking about a band. We're talking about
I know.
Greatest singers.
Yeah, no, I would certainly put Freddie way above Ozzy, but not surprised Ozzy's there because James Hetfield is an absolute fanboy of Tony Iommi, and they love Black Sabbath, and they covered them. And Ozzy, not surprised to find him on there, but doesn't belong that high. But
no. This is not a subjective thing. Great singers is not, I love this band. That's not what a great singer is. A great singer is somebody who can pretty much sing the phone book and people would buy it.
Oh, Freddie Mercury's a better
Osbourne.
Yeah, Freddie Mercury's a better singer than Ozzy. Dio is a better singer than Ozzy.
Everybody's a better singer than Ozzy.
Quite a few people.
Pretty much I'd rather hear Pac-Man's Waka 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 all day.
But I knew he would be there.
Yeah, it does, but again, you knew he'd be there because he's a fanboy, but not because he's a great singer. That's where I have issues. I take issue with that. Glenn Danzig is number 8. I'm sorry. No.
Not a great singer. I love his voice. It's very unique, but he has he's very distinctive, and that's like the others, and that's good. Not a great singer, exactly, no.
Right.
No.
I'm not talking about the band. Yeah. Let the bands go, because this is all about the best singers. He thinks he's the greatest singers of all time. And then he puts next Lemmy at number 7.
Not a chance. So
Freddie Mercury's 13, Steven Tyler's 11, but we have Lemmy at 7.
Yeah, no, no justice there, in my opinion.
We have Bon Scott at number 5. I can get behind Bon Scott. I'm not sure about the order at all. The order's stupid. Chris Cornell is number 4.
Yeah, there you go. Good choice.
Well, yeah, but many questionable ones in here. I can't even handle it. Rob Halford, number 3. Good singer, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Above Freddie Mercury, not for me.
Nope.
You're going to love this one. Lane Staley is his number 2.
I can't even.
Number 2.
I just can't handle it.
I love Lane Staley's voice. Many people do, and clearly, but he's not above a bazillion of these.
Yeah.
He's not.
Thank you for that.
He's certainly not above Chris Cornell.
Oh, good Lord, no.
And who do you think is his number 1? Dio is number 1.
Oh, Dio. Oh, yeah. I figured he would rank very highly with anyone who likes hard rock and, Black Sabbath. Iommi and Dio and Ozzy. So Hetfield is totally in his glory because he gets them both. They have 11, 12 albums between them. Yeah.
The ones I agree with, and not in this order, let me say, is Dio, Chris Cornell, Bon Scott, Robert Plant, Steven Tyler, Freddie Mercury, and Maynard. I agree with those. And Maynard, not because I love his music. He's got an amazing, very, very adaptable voice. And you need to listen to a Perfect Circle stuff. It's very different, more melodic. But the rest of those, not horrible singers. Well, some of them. But the order is really troubling to me as a singer, as somebody who actually, appreciates good singing. I'm very concerned, and I am worried we're going to have to do a hell yes or oh hell no versus with Robert Plant and Freddie Mercury. I cannot believe you said you'd pick Robert Plant over Freddie Mercury. I'm not sure we can continue to talk. I think Robert Plant should be on the list, most assuredly, but I do not think he's above Freddie Mercury. So that's interesting. But I find a lot of these objectionable. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure, James. I feel like you're maybe showing some favoritism here because you like those people or you like the band. And I'm looking for the greatest singers of all time.
I think he's not separating the band.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
I think that's the deal. Because if you separate the band from it, you go, Ozzy's not a great singer. Lemmy's not a great singer.
It's great when guys can get away with not really singing.
Right.
And you love it anyway.
Yeah.
But
true.
You don't want to say Mick Jagger's a great singer.
He's not.
But he has one of my favorite voices. It's funny. I'm coming to realize that most of the people that I really like are not great singers.
Oh. All right. Well, interesting, right? Very interesting to hear what a frontman would say. And I thought it was very interesting. And again, I don't think he separated the band from the artist, which I think is a mistake. But it's very interesting. And if I did the bands that I like, they don't all have the best singers.
No.
So that's why I'm separating them, because this is the greatest singers. So
I don't care how much you love Lynyrd Skynyrd. Please don't tell me Ronnie Van Zant's a great singer.
No.
Okay, he's not.
No.
You can go to any bar and you'll hear somebody just like him, vocally.
Agreed. And maybe even better. So, yeah. So that's it for Bird Banter. A little bit from the brain of James Hetfield. And what now, David?
Well, now it's time for the theme recap, where we tell you what we told you last time, only now it's at the beginning of the actual show, and that is Freebird, another Freebird, anything in the realm of goth. And goth is a form of folk music-inspired experimental music that emerged from post-industrial music circles. It can be solely acoustic folk music or a blend of acoustic folk instrumentation with accompanying sounds such as pianos, strings, or elements of industrial music and experimental music, and all kinds of synths and bizarro sounds where you don't even know what the hell it is, actually.
True.
And notable examples include Susie and the Banshees, Bauhaus, Joy Division, those lovely boys, Cramps, Cocteau Twins, The Cure, Type O Negative, The Cult, Nine Inch Nails, and the Sisters of Mercy. And you're a real dinosaur when you're only familiar with about a third of those bands. And that's me, folks, I frankly admit. So we're going to see what kind of gothy sorts of things we had sent in to us. And I think that brings us to a feature, though, and it looks like it has your name written all over it.
That's true. This is Hell Yes or Oh Hell No versus. So, we really like to ask you what you think. So for this feature, we consider bands and determine if we are in or out, and we ask you to weigh in because we always want to know what you think. And this time it was a couple of electronic gods back in the 80s. And, sometimes some of them into the 90s. Depeche Mode versus Yaz or Yazoo. Now, it was interesting because not many people knew who Yaz was. Now, Yaz was huge back in the 80s, as was Depeche Mode. And the reason I put these two together, now you might say, if you listen to the two of them, and I made you a playlist, because I know you didn't know Yaz, and if you put these two together, you might say, well, Christina, they're not exactly the same. Well, they're both electronic music, and they both feature a very, very powerful lead vocal. So that's really what I wanted to do, because if I pair up an electronic, sound with something like Depeche Mode. I mean, David Gahan has such a powerful voice that you can't do that. You had to meet him with an equally powerful voice. And I hope that's what I've done. So, David, before we get into all of this, were you surprised by the results at all? And I'm going to reveal them in a minute, but were you surprised by what you saw?
Actually, no, I was not. It's kind of what I expected. And my reaction, well, you did make me a brief playlist. Mm-hmm. Now, Depeche Mode, I at least knew about.
Right.
I had heard of them. I'd heard some of their tunes. I knew some of their tunes. I've discovered through the playlist that you made that they're quite more to my liking than I thought, but I mostly missed them. Now, the other group, they might have fans up the yazoo, but I swear I never heard of them before. But listening to this brief list, I got to tell you, I was so knocked out. Well, they have a fascinating story, and though apparently they were known as Yaz in North America, why is it we always get different names? I can't tell you how many movies I've watched that have these, they're released in Britain, they're made by British studios, and they're released in the United States with these, like, salacious and, sensationalistic titles or something. Why were they Yaz here? I don't know. I didn't know them by any name, but now that I did check them out, they have a fascinating story. The two of them, and their ties to, Depeche Mode, and Erasure, and I gotta say, Alison Moyet, what a vocalist. What a vocalist. Goth, but soulful goth.
Commanding.
Powerful. I mean, on one song she sounds kind of like Martha Davis of the Motels. Another song she sounds like Annie Lennox. It's just a little bit of hints of the Eurythmics there, in my mind. I was super impressed with Yazoo, Yaz, whatever they were.
They're more known as Yaz, but their real name is Yazoo.
Yeah, Yaz then. Like Jesus and Yaz, whatever these rock stars, I swear. Yaz, they really impressed me quite a bit.
Absolutely. So, there's somebody that I listened to a long time ago and a lot, and I remember thinking, wow, that guy, I hope that guy's really hot when I heard her voice. And then I found out it was a woman, and I loved it even more. What an amazing voice. Just totally knocked me out as a kid and continues to knock me out when I hear that voice. It's so soulful.
It's a hot voice.
It is just like, it's like butter. It's sexy. It's got attitude. It's just, I just love her voice so much. And if you watch any of the videos, she's just this huge presence. She's just badass. So, sorry, my voice came out. She's just badass. So, interesting. Let's talk about the results, and then we'll share what we think, who won this versus battle. So 96% said Depeche Mode, but I wonder if many of those people said Depeche Mode because they don't know who Yazoo is or who Yaz is. Well, 2% of people said Yaz wins, and 2% said who the fuck are either of these bands.
That's hard for me to believe.
Broke my heart.
An old dinosaur like me knows who Depeche Mode is. Come on. Now, I can see not being very familiar. Now, Yaz, that was exactly my reaction to Yaz. Who the fuck is that? Glad I got to be exposed, but Depeche Mode, everybody knows them, I would think, anyway.
You'd think. Well, I think if you weren't into electronic music, you may have just turned the station as soon as you heard it. And electronic new wave, it was all that.
Yeah, they creep in I mean, Johnny Cash covered them, for heaven's sakes. I mean, they creep in everywhere.
Because they're amazing.
Yeah.
So, all right. So then I will go to you first to see who won this epic battle. Electronic and commanding vocals to electronic and commanding vocals. Who wins and why?
Well, it's a surprise upset going to the underdog, but Yaz actually fascinated me more and made me want to hear more than I already did. Yaz actually, just the complete unknowns, it's basically like the Italian stallion of goth kind of thing, came along, and they got me over Depeche Mode, believe it or not.
I do not believe it, though I respect it. I love Yaz, but there is no way in fuck they are better than Depeche Mode if I had to put them head to head. Now, the good news is I get to have both. I get to have my cake and eat it too because I get to have both of them. But in this epic battle, I would have to say Depeche Mode. Not only, and you know, David, that I can separate my affection for a band from the quality of the music. So I separated my love for Depeche Mode and just listened to them, and I found more complexity, more interest, more intricacy, more surprises in Depeche Mode, lyrically and vocally, all of that. And even visually, when I look at their videos, I just have to give it to Depeche. And I did it on all counts. I went the whole way. Although, again, I get to have both. But yes, Depeche Mode, I am with the majority that they win, but I am so happy for Yaz that they won you over.
You know, I think you touched on something there when you said complexity. It was the limitations of my chimpanzee brain that probably that's what drew me more to Yaz, because it is a little bit simpler.
And it's, you know what, it's very pop, but it's also very cool and edgy, which is kind of like what you said, like the Eurythmics. That's kind of that feel.
Yeah.
So I get it. It's more accessible. Not that Depeche Mode isn't accessible. I said inaccessible. Isn't accessible. But you're right. They're darker. They're a little more brooding. They're a little more complex. They have all that stuff going. So if that's not your bag, I totally see why Yaz won. But I think it was a good pairing. I really do. I think we had a fair fight.
Yeah, I mean, they belonged in the ring together.
Right,
We weren't
absolutely.
no welterweights with heavyweights or anything like that. As far as certainly in terms of how well they're known, I would easily Depeche Mode. But as far as ability, they were evenly matched enough.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So excellent. Very, very fun battle. And thank you all for playing along. We appreciate it. And Yaz, if you happen to be listening or anyone tells you about this, we are so happy to have reminded people of how amazing you are. And Depeche Mode, how I worship thee.
Yaz, I will totally open for you. Okay, so
I will close for you. Wait, that sounded weird.
let's book a gig.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. So, oh my gosh, it is time for our first song. So we have changed the thing. We've flipped the script here. This is what we do. This is how it works. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go away and listen to the first goth band of the night called Sister Kill Cycle with a song called Can't Feel. Oh, how sad. And they're from Tampa, Florida. Ooh, they're sticky, so that's probably why they can't feel.
They can't feel, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably why kill is in their name, because
that's probably
that's all they think about.
That's right. They're like, I'm going to kill somebody. It's so fucking humid. And they're shock rock and goth. So let's go have a listen. Whoosh.
Thought that I would be alright and that nothing could hurt anymore. But we are victims of both our mistakes, and now the pain is worse than before. This is killing me, it's fucking killing me. I don't know who I am anymore. This is killing me. Killing me. I don't know if I can take anymore. I wanna feel the way that I felt when we were young, and we could never die. And all this pain that I feel reminds me of you. So in love, we were electric. We could do no wrong, and the stars all played our favorite songs. The stars all played our favorite songs. This is killing me, it's fucking killing me. I don't know who I am anymore. This is killing me. Killing me. I don't know if I can take anymore. I wanna feel the way that I felt when we were young, and we could never die. And
That was Sister Kill Cycle with Can't Feel. Well, that was quite something.
It really was.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and throw out one of my first thoughts, and it was the use of the word fucking. You're always going to win me over. This is fucking killing me. I mean, I'm so in. So I'm just going to throw that out.
A very wonderful, emphatic word.
Right.
Depending upon how it's used, it can emphasize entirely different emotions.
Right. And I thought it was solid. I also really, really, really liked the fact that I felt the anger, the pain, especially when there was like what I imagine was either vocal doubling or there was another vocal that was added in, maybe kind of underground vocal. And I love that it did it to fade. Like, I thought the vocal was so powerful. What about you? I mean, I have more thoughts, but what do you think?
Well, I really appreciate. Well, I thought it was a very good vocal, and I really appreciated how clear it was and how you could understand every word. And a lot of, even some of our favorite music, you strain and you don't get every single line. But you could follow this all the way. And what you said about the fucking thing, the emphatic thing, that's the genius of it, is if you saw this in print, these exact words, it could be so milquetoast and emo and all this stuff and everything. But this delivery, honestly, I would be, if I were somebody, I would be completely unnerved if some dude was singing this to me,
Yes.
I mean, you could only hope that being as it's Florida, he would slip in a puddle of his own sweat and enable you to make a getaway. Because, but it was very solid, really super tasty guitar lead, too.
Yeah.
Less is more, big time, just absolutely appropriate. Everything was dead on. I really was I love this song.
Yeah, I do too. I found it, the solo was unexpected for me because sometimes when you have a song that sounds like this, that may or may not happen. So I really like that it happened. And at around minute 3, there's a really nice transition that kind of caught me unaware, but also made me happy. And the keys throughout this are ethereal and dark, and they totally fit the mood, and they kind of keep it going and have some really, really nice tension throughout the song. And as I mentioned before, the vocal goes all the way through to fade, so there's no resolution. You're just fucking killing him till the end. So this is a really great, great song, and you can find Sister Kill Cycle on Facebook at Sister Kill Cycle.
All right, and you're probably thinking, they've been on the air for 3.5 minutes and they haven't done a new feature yet.
What the hell?
And knowing the inexhaustible font of new features that is Christina, this presentation here of this episode of Birds of a Feather is going to contain probably at least one, and here it comes now. Keep your eyes on the kids. And for this feature, we discuss the kids following in the footsteps of their rock star parents. Does the apple fall far from the tree? And to add to your ever-growing pool of knowledge about birds, you budding ornithologists out there, ayas are... Aw, what a sweetheart, baby falcons. They'll grow up and tear you to bits later on, but they're sweet
but for now. They're
so sweet. So, let's talk about these kids here. Got a good example, I think, this time. All right, well, first of all, mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be rock stars. It seems like some good advice.
Well played, sir.
We've talked about some examples of that. But however, there are many notable cases, nonetheless, of hatchlings flying the same migratory path as their parents, or even jumping into the same nest. Now, thankfully, we will not be discussing Hank Williams or any of his descendants. I think we're up to, 8 now, is it?
At least
Hank
8.
Williams the 8th? It's like... no, okay, it's 4, actually, but still. That's kind of ridiculous. Now, because many groups have spanned the decades and generations, some little birdies end up playing with their own parents. A Cheap Trick takes this to a whole new level, with Rick Nielsen's son Dax playing drums on tour and on the records, and Robin Zander's son Robin, also, the second.
There we go again.
The second. Touring with the band on rhythm guitar. Now, while some start off in mom or dad's band and end up flying solo, as in the case of former Runaways vocalist Cherie Curry, whose son Jake Hayes, whose father I recently learned is actor Robert Hayes. You remember him, Ted Stryker from Airplane with the drinking problem? Their son plays in mom's band and has his own recording career. And another such case is tonight's subject. Wolfgang, or Wolfgang for the commoners out there, Van Halen, the son of the late and very much lamented Eddie Van Halen, and actress Valerie Bertinelli, wasn't even born when Van Halen exploded onto the music scene. But following the departure of bassist and significant backing vocalist Michael Anthony, Wolfie joined Dad's band, coinciding with the return of original vocalist David Lee Roth for one more Van Halen album. Now, it's said that the young Van Halen was very instrumental in the selection and arrangement of the songs, about half of which were early Van Halen songs, given a modern makeover and retooled lyrically by David Lee Roth to reflect a more mature worldview.
And what did you think, though, of the retooling? I haven't heard it yet. Is it worth a listen?
I actually have that album, the one album they did with Wolfie and David Lee Roth, the last Van Halen album ever. Different Kind of Truth. I think it's great, personally. I really think it's a very gratifying record.
How does Dave's voice hold up?
Dave's voice is fine on the record, which brings me to the other one that Wolfie did, the Japan Live album, Live in Tokyo. I forget the exact name of it. And the band sounds incredible. David Lee Roth, I don't know what the hell he's doing on there. I really don't. But to its credit, if nothing else, the live album deserves acclaim for being truly live. No fixes, no touch-ups, no do-overs, which they could badly have used. But, like I said, the band's on fire. Roth, oh well, what are you going to do? But the studio album, is definitely worth having now.
Okay.
But the most remarkable thing, however, and the real story here, is the new album by an act known as Mammoth, WVH. And who is this band? Well, Wolfgang Van Halen, of course, and no one.
What?
In a truly rare and astonishing feat, Wolfie not only wrote every song on the album, but plays every note and sings every note. We've talked about this on earlier shows, just how singular an accomplishment this is.
It is.
And how few, relatively speaking, have achieved it. Paul McCartney, Prince.
Thrice, right? Paul McCartney?
Yeah. Paul McCartney, Prince, Lenny Kravitz, Professor P. Soup,
All the greats.
All the greats, yeah. But few, the proud. We few, we happy few, we band of brothers. Yeah. Mammoth, it is worth noting, was the name of Dad's band before. Allegedly, at David Lee Roth's urging, they opted to use the surname of Eddie and Alex.
Oh, see, I had no idea that was their original band name.
Yeah,
see, this is so fascinating.
Yeah, and I also think it suits this band, or act rather, better than it suited Van Halen, because the sound is much more huge and lumbering. I mean, it's a big, heavy sound.
So this time it definitely...
It's more Mammoth than Van Halen was.
That's perfect.
Yeah, the sound is definitely bigger, brawnier, and bulkier and brontosaurus-like, almost, or mammoth-like, than the catchy, albeit hard-rocking sound of Van Halen. A little trivia I just came across. According to the omniscient Wikipedia, this was news to me completely. Both Patti Smythe of Scandal and Daryl Hall, the king of yacht rock himself,
for sure,
were offered the lead vocal position. Yeah, right? What? Daryl Hall, lead singer of Van Halen? Before they eventually hooked up with Sammy Hagar.
I'm sorry. There's just, I can't even imagine that, because Sammy was perfect to slide in there.
Patti Smythe is a lot closer than Daryl Hall, but neither one of them. No. Sammy was much more.
For sure.
Mammoth WVH has received critical and public acclaim. Loudersound.com called it high-tech, relentless, and thrilling. And the tour is highly anticipated. So this is one kid you really want to keep your eyes on. And hats off to you, Eddie, for giving him Mozart's first name. That was a real classy touch.
Definitely. Wow. Well, I'm excited to hear that. And I want to watch for when the concert comes here. And I wonder if it'll come to 5 Points. Wouldn't that be amazing? Because that's right around the corner from me. A
lot of people are anticipating this. There are dates already booked.
We'll have to look into that. Well, thank you. Holy mackerel. I will keep my eyes on that one. All right, it is time now for our next artist/band. This time it's Wannis, and their song is Smokin'. Sorry, I couldn't help but do the Jim Carrey. Fuck, they probably hate me for that, but I couldn't help myself.
How many of them got it? I think it's delightful.
I couldn't help it. I just had to.
And I've never even seen the movie, but everybody knows that.
Everybody knows. That is what, The Mask? Ooh,
The Mask,
yes. Yeah. So they are from Atlanta, Georgia, the South, and they are industrial goth and rock. David, my
Southern
interest
goth.
Is
come on.
I mean, come on. Is there anything better?
Wannis from Uranus. I mean, it's Smoking,
if they're from
smoking
Uranus.
with an apostrophe,
With an apostrophe.
That lends it some some rock and roll excitement.
That's what I'm
because
saying.
you might recall that Boston had a song by that name,
then
Smoking
there's
apostrophe.
Smoking in the boys' room.
Smoking, yeah. I mean,
it's not smoking in the boys' room.
No, you don't.
This
That's not
smoking.
what you do.
You,
Yeah.
know, you don't
go smoking in the boys' room.
No, you go
smoking
smoking in the boys' room.
And Wannis is going to have a song called "Smoking" that's going to rock and goth, and I can't wait to hear it. I have no idea. You've heard it at least
I've
once?
heard it once, but you haven't.
I'm dying to hear it.
Shall we whoosh?
Whoosh.
Hey man, just heard what happened. All I have is one question. Dude, what are you smoking to think that was a good idea?
I don't need what you're smoking. Looks to me like you're choking. I hold my breath while you're soaking. Yeah, I don't need what you're smoking. What I need, I can cheat, is a higher mind without an addiction. I won't go with the flow, it feels like vertigo. My realization
Dude,
is blowing out your mouth is a fallacy. Well, I'm stepping out, I need some room to breathe. Tell me, what are you smoking? I question your intuition. It's choking out your ambition. You're stuck in your suffocation. Cerebral regeneration. What I need, I can cheat, is a higher mind without an addiction. I won't go with the flow, it feels like vertigo. My realization
dude,
is blowing out your mouth is a fallacy. Well, I'm stepping out, I need some room to breathe. Tell me, what are you smoking?
Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect.
dude, what are you smoking?
Blowing out your mouth is a fallacy. Well, I'm slipping out, I need some room to breathe.
Dude,
It's blowing out your mouth is a fallacy. Well, I'm stepping out, I need some room to breathe. Tell me, what are you smoking?
Yeah.
Whoosh.
That's exactly.
We are back. That was Wannis with Smokin'. Wow, I have a lot to say about this one. I'm going to go ahead and get started with the vocals are very stylized, and I think they work for this song. Like if you think about like Rob Zombie, he's very stylized. If this gentleman just sang it straight, I don't think it would have worked. I liked that it was kind of like a little menacing, and I really dug it.
Little mechanized sound to it. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, did you feel that too?
Yeah, this reminded me of an act we play in a couple of different ways. It reminded me of a little bit of Angel Machine. Right? And I really dug how it
and
went
David Patacone too a little bit.
Yeah, David Patacone. Yeah, the same vein. I dug the one-sided dialogue. You have a little spoken word thing
I
with
love
the
that in a
stops and the
song.
starts.
Right.
And as a nice twist, usually a song called "Smokin'" would say like, "Hey, smoking is great." That does not appear to be the message here.
No.
Not at all. So that's refreshing, and I like how it's going along, and then it just cuts loose the anchor of all the heaviness, and then we just get it drifting a bit, it lightens up, no beat, then bam, it comes back full strength. And I mean, just as a kicker, not only is it not yay for smoking, hooray, hooray, smoke, they drop some scripture, just like Quentin Tarantino movies here. It drops
right.
a couple lines from Romans 12, and that even makes it more like an Angel Machine, David Patacone. These guys should all play together.
Maybe they do.
But that was a very powerful song. Everything was exactly in the proportion that it should have been. And it was just long enough, and like I said, the vocal treatment it really packs a punch. Great song.
I absolutely agree. A couple of things that stood out to me is, like you were saying, that spoken word part. It's something that Ascent does a lot. We have a lot of that stuff, and I feel like it really does add. Number one, I think it adds a little mystery because you can't always understand what the voice is saying, right? But in this case, it set it off right with a message. I thought that was a brilliant beginning to the song, and it had me interested. I also really like the 1980s effects, right? They are absolutely perfect. You had a little bit of 80s kind of electronic sounds in there, little 80s synth in there, and I thought it was fantastic. I also sweet synths throughout. Different breaks of the sweet synths, doing so many different things, and really adding to the song. And there was something that really surprised me is almost toward the end, it devolves completely, and it just completely, like, everything kind of drops out.
Fragments, kind of. Yeah,
and it was it was so disconcerting, and I felt a little anxious, and I wonder if that was the absolute intention, because then it came back, and I was like, thank goodness. Because I felt it was disconcerting, but I think sometimes you do that to get a response. It
was industrial, and then it was like the machine stopped running for a while and bogged down, and then boom, we're back up and running. Yeah. That was nice. That was really
good
nice
stuff. Well, you can find Wannis on Instagram. Actually, they don't have a Facebook that I could find at WANUS Music. You know what time it is.
Yeah, well, it's a feature that has your name on it, but it's going to be interactive. We're both going to participate. In fact, that is, by definition, how this feature works. Why don't you explain it to us, as if they don't already know?
Exactly. Well, here's the thing. This is various songbirds, and we do this, and we also do hummingbirds every other week. One or the other comes up, and for this feature, we name lines from songs and try to stump each other in a head-to-head battle. And because it was so much fun, we're going to continue on with the lightning rounds, where we only have 30 seconds after the person says the lines to come up with it. And if we don't, then we are out.
Yes, and since it's lines, regular listeners will remember that makes it much more challenging, much more difficult, much more angsty. And my advice is, if you find wailing and weeping and gnashing of teeth distasteful, you'll want to avoid two things: hell and this next feature. So let us proceed.
And also the DMV, probably.
And the DMV.
Okay, so actually you are going first this time, and I am terrified. I am actually shaking a little bit, and we'll see what happens.
I gotta say, when it comes to providing lines versus humming or la-laing melodies, it's harder to pick the cotton for the cotton balls, Nevertheless, I did manage to come up with some softball cotton balls here that I think you'll easily get.
Is how often you talk about cotton balls and you really throw boulders at me. So it's very weird.
Something happens to them in flight. You know, they leave as cotton balls, and they just become.
I disagree. I think they leave as rocks, and they hit their target.
I think they're petrified in midair. You know, is what happens to them.
Well,
all right. Well, here's one. If you could hear it sung, you would know. But that's not how this works.
No.
All right. But I can see you. Your brown skin shining in the sun. You got your hair combed back and your sunglasses on, baby.
It's The Boys of Summer by Don Henley.
Did I lie to you? I'm telling you, there was a cotton ball if ever there was one, and you got
fine.
it. Okay, now I can't promise the other ones are quite so easy. That was the cottoniest, the softest.
So I get the cotton at the beginning, and then there's that whole,
well, just to give you hope and a sense of accomplishment and everything.
See?
Okay,
folks,
now let's...
This is premeditated fucking slaughter, public slaughter every time, premeditated. I just want you to hear it. He actually kind of admitted it just now.
She doesn't even have to try to stump me, though. I'll stumble over Kiss and Blue Oyster Cult and anything, a Blondie,
which is always shocking.
Yeah, which is always shocking. So what do you got for me this time?
Let's see about this one. So, I knew the gun was loaded, but I didn't think he'd kill. Everything exploded and the blood began to spill.
Uh-oh. I do know this.
I know you do.
You
don't have much time.
Oh, this is terrible. The clock's ticking.
I know.
Making that noise will help me remember.
Yes. All right. Time's up.
Agony. I know
I
it.
knew the gun was loaded, but I didn't think he'd kill. It's the nature of the beast. It's the smuggler's blues.
Smugglers. Yes! I can't believe you followed an eagle with an eagle.
That was crazy. I was like, he's going to get
that's
this.
what I was thinking. I was thinking it's an eagle. Which eagle is it?
Yep,
you know?
It was Glenn Fry. Yeah, you got to cut that part where I sung that. I was not good, but yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I love that song, actually.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
surprised you did not get that one. I really am. I thought that was a softball, babe.
It really should have been. I know that song all right.
You sure?
All right. Okay, well, I'll repay that with another softball.
We shall see.
Cat's foot, iron claw. Neurosurgeons scream for more. At paranoia's poison door.
Look on your face.
It's all in the delivery.
No idea.
Cat's foot, iron claw. Neurosurgeons scream for more. At paranoia's poison door. Okay.
Got nothing.
It's a defeat. Okay, but if I sing it, that'll make it fun, because then you'll know.
All right, it's a defeat, though.
Cat's foot, iron claw. Neurosurgeons scream for more.
21st
Paranoia's poison door. 21st century schizoid man.
Fuck, that
Immortal King Crimson. See, it can happen to anyone. The Maria syndrome is back.
You know, I can't say that I know all those lyrics, so that's also my bad. So shame on me. Double shame on me. All right, let's see if you know this one. If you don't, I just have to let you know you're going to just public shame. As soon as the Sharif was chauffeured out of there, the jet pilots turned to the cockpit radio blare. As soon as the Sharif was out of there, the jet pilots wailed.
Rock the Casbah.
That's right.
Rock the Casbah. The Clash.
There's
Rock the
no
Casbah.
way you wouldn't have got that.
No way I
Come
wouldn't
on.
have got that. You couldn't, I swear, in the 80s, you could not get near a bar without that song playing. I mean, it was impossible.
And it's like the song that you least expect to be a huge hit. Such weird lyrics, fucking huge hit.
It's so musically adventurous. It's so out there. And I mean, a very well-deserved hit for the Clash, I gotta say.
Sure.
Let me see what I got for you here.
Boulders are coming.
Boulders? No,
Here
I really don't think so.
I didn't get the last one.
Oh. What's the matter with the crowd I'm seeing? Don't you know that they're out of touch? Should I try to be a straight-A student?
What's the matter with the crowd I'm seeing? Don't they know that I'm out of touch? It's Billy Joel. Fuck.
Keep going. You got time, I think.
Still rock and roll to me.
Billy Joel,
I had
still rock and roll to me.
Ooh.
Yes, all right.
Ooh, that's crazy.
Nice. Winning streak. Clobbering spree, I think we would call that.
I don't think so. I don't know. We'll see. So here's one for you. Need to know that you will always be same old someone that I knew. Oh, what will it take till you believe in me the way that I believe in you?
This is presciently bizarre, okay?
Isn't it?
Another Billy Joel song? You've got to be kidding me, right?
I was like, oh my God, I'm not even kidding.
We started off with Eagles. different Eagles, different side of the aisle from the Eagles, and Billy Joel was number 3. You've got to be joking me.
No. What was the name of the song again?
Just the Way You Are, Billy
yes,
Joel. Yeah,
very good. All right. Well, okay.
Wow.
I know. That's really, like,
Bizarrely
we're on the
prescient,
same
yes.
wavelength. What's going on?
I mean, of all the people.
Besties. Besties.
I'm done.
That'll
Eagles,
do it.
Billy Joel.
Come on.
All right. Well, let's see. I'm going to really dive if your next one is this act.
I doubt it.
Let me see. Just put me in a wheelchair. Get me to the show. Hurry, hurry, hurry before I go loco. I know she's getting it now.
Bam, 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 bam. I want to be sedated. It's the Ramones.
Ramones, I want to be sedated.
Yeah, no, I
good.
do not have
These are
them.
good ones here
These
tonight.
are good.
Yeah,
very
yeah.
well
This is
played.
how it's supposed to go, not the
Nice.
agony we usually get.
Not the pure.
Do I have one
pure
more coming?
pain.
I do.
You have one
Oh,
more.
One more. Okay.
This one is not as easy. I mean, if you know it, which you do, I hope it will be easy, but why in the world would anybody put chains on me? I've paid my dues to make it. Everybody wants me to be what they want me to be. I'm not happy when I try to fake it. No.
Let me see. You know what? This one is actually quite easy.
Yes.
Commodores. Now, it would be
Yes.
very tempting for a younger person to go, oh, Lionel Richie, easy. Not Lionel Richie,
No,
the
but
Commodores
Commodores.
with Lionel Richie, of course.
Easy
Yeah.
like a Sunday morning.
Oh, that sweet-ass guitar solo. Oh, that's a beautiful song.
I want to be high. It's one of my favorites. If I'm super stressed out or having a bad one,
Really?
I put that on. I'm good.
Beautiful.
And I'm
beautiful.
easy like Sunday morning. You got 3 out of 4.
And hard to believe that was covered by Faith No More. Didn't Faith No More cover that?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I believe they did. Of all the songs. Yep.
Interesting.
Yep. Very interesting.
So 3 out of
3 out
4.
of
So
4.
did you kick my ass? You did.
Who got the 3 and who got the 4?
You got the 3
Oh, that's right.
out
You
of
missed
4.
King Crimson. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So how many did I miss? I missed 2.
And I got them all?
You got 3 out of 4.
3 out of 4. Which one did I miss?
You missed Glenn Fry.
Oh, shit. That's right. Yes. The agony of Glenn Fry and you, the agony of King Crimson. So we're tied, babe.
Oh, I thought there was another one I missed.
No, you didn't.
I did.
No, you got Boys of Summer.
Yes.
I Want to Be Sedated.
Yes.
Still Rock and Roll to Me.
Oh, okay, I did. You're right.
Yeah.
What's the matter with...
Yeah,
No.
yeah. The only one you missed. Yeah, you got them all.
Okay, all
You got
right,
'em.
so we're tied.
We're tied.
Oh,
Hey,
shit,
that's
all right.
that's a little bit more like
That's
it.
a little more like it.
The only thing that could make that any sweeter is if you were going to do a feature right now.
Actually, we're gonna. Whoa, is it gonna explode?
Yeah, that's my turkey. I have this
Turkey's on.
alarm that goes off every day at 1 o'clock, and I have no idea how to stop it. You know.
Turkey's done. Oh my god! No, I'm actually not doing a feature, but we are going to listen to a song. And
That's
let's.
so like us.
It is, right? It's just like us. So this particular band is Molly Vamp with a song called Time to Change. They are from LA and they're rock and goth. Now, let me tell you about Molly Vamp. We played with them. They're friends of ours, and they're just so cool. Girl drummer, chick drummer, she's amazing. She's awesome. And a married couple plays in this band. And the lead guy, he's very cool. Like, he will straight up wear like ruffles and like a very cool, like, timeless coat, and very like vampire-esque. He's got like gorgeous hair. It used to be really long. He cut it, but it's badass. They're such nice people, very talented. We're hoping to share a stage with them again soon.
I have seen the name. I've seen it on posters and ads and things like that, and that's the image I get. That suave vamp thing. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm looking forward to hearing this song.
All right, well, let's whoosh away. Whoosh. Whoosh. All right. Molly Vamp with Time to Change. Well, I just want to tell you that Curesque guitar that's just through the whole thing, I can't even stand it. I just loved it.
Yeah, the Curesque guitar, exactly. What's really amazing about it is it's playing this rock-solid supporting role.
Yes.
While immediately the song grabs me with that crazy... that crazy beat. And the bass is really like the engine of the song. I mean, they established it, and they really let it play out.
Oh,
they do the whole "it's the jelly" thing, like Michael Jackson with Billie Jean. I mean, they really, we're not going to rush it. We're going to get in there, and we're going to let you get hooked on this.
It builds tension too.
I
felt really tense. I was like,
does.
Ooh.
And like I said, the guitar is like supporting, and it really kind of reminds me of like Echo and the Bunnymen, which is a really good thing. It's definitely the most goth thing we've heard on the show tonight.
For sure.
But that is what we're looking for, and that was a really good example right there. So yay, Molly Vamp.
Yeah, I like it. It's like new wave. It's like rock, and it's goth. I like that there's like a nod to new wave. Definitely there's a lot of tension building in release, which I like, where you're like, oh, good. Oh, good. It's just really, really cool. And then I like the echoey vocal. I really do like it. It's very kind of creepy, but then also kind of ethereal and like magical. It's got all that. And this song, I'm not even kidding, could easily be dropped into any Brat Pack movie. Like any movie of that time. 16 Candles, The Breakfast Club. Can you not hear this on the soundtrack?
I mean...
Come on.
St. Elmo's Fire.
Seriously, right? And so I was thinking that. I was like, God, this is a great tune. So this is, again, a friend of Ascent. We love Molly Vamp, and this is a great tune by them. And they are, not only are they, obviously something that you enjoy listening to, but they have just this visual appearance too, this kind of, obviously rock, goth, vampire thing, and... coolest female drummer, nicest people you'll ever want to know. So if you're local to California, definitely look for Molly Vamp playing somewhere near you all the time, and hopefully Ascent will be sharing a stage with them again soon. You can find them on Facebook at Molly Vamp Official.
Right on.
So now,
interview with a vampire with instruments. What more could you want?
Seriously, coolest hair, best clothes, whatever.
What's this red word on this part of the format
let me
here?
Sound it out. Hang on.
No. Oh, no. It's saying no, I won't do it.
No, you will. No, I think it's saying now you will do it.
Oh, now. New, I will do it now.
Now, yes.
Yet another new feature. And have you noticed, you've probably noticed how I always seem to get stuck with the new features.
Did you say get stuck?
Stuck.
You
blessed.
Mean, yes,
privileged.
Blessed.
Yeah,
that's
privileged.
Correct. Thank you.
To deliver the new features. And this one is called we don't have to do a big explanation for what the bird is this time. This one is called J-Dead. J-Dead. For this feature, we discuss how the once or seemingly wholesome became a more provocative version of themselves. Do we miss the wholesome, or do we revel in what they became? And, I gotta say, I don't mean to go for the low-hanging fruit here, but there's...
there's so many.
There's an artist that comes to mind so readily in this case, but I'm going to leave that one, I think, for Christina. So who was the jaded, or perhaps not star that came to mind, apart from the painfully obvious one? Ms. Taylor Swift herself. Who, first of all, I want to convey my absolutely boundless admiration for how she has handled her career.
Same.
I saw this documentary thing, and it's like she's running everything.
She's amazing.
She's a friggin' genius.
Yeah.
But she came around rather young. Her debut album was written while she was in high school. Mm-hmm. Okay. And it was a little different, a little simpler then. She was a good songwriter to start with, always, but there was a lot of the basic teen stuff like, he's the reason for the teardrops on my guitar, the only thing that keeps me wishing on a wishing star.
Oy vey.
Yeah, I mean, that's all fine and well, but... and
when you're prepubescent.
Yeah, and Love Story, Romeo and Juliet, yeah, right? I mean,
that's the sweetest little song.
You be the prince and I'll be the princess. It's a love story, baby, just say yes.
Oh, so cute, though. Come on.
She was actually regarded as a, quote, country, end quote, artist.
She still is.
That's hard to believe.
She's crossover.
Crossover into everything you can imagine. It's like saying country crossover into death metal. I mean, But her evolution from this country thing to pure pop and beyond was really welcome, I think, as well as an even harder edge in her lyrics, for sure. Away from the conventional, you hurt me, you're mean, or I love you, you make me happy, to the sort of wry, worldly snark and badassery that can only come from age, wisdom, experience, and a hell of a lot of success and public scrutiny.
Yeah,
you
for
know?
sure. The public scrutiny part, you hear it.
When your every move is dissected, you have to adopt an attitude.
For sure.
You know, and it can be a fun one, as in shake it off.
Yep.
I never miss a beat. I'm lightning on my feet, and that's what they don't see. And this delicious little get a life exhortation, still in fun. Hey, just think. While you've been getting down and out about the liars and the dirty, dirty cheats of the world, you could have been getting down to the sick beat. Because the player's going to play. The hater's going to hate.
That's right.
Baby, I'm just going to shake it off. Come on, you know you want to
So
sing it.
good.
It's so damn good.
Are you kidding me?
Or
Absolutely.
she could turn really ice cold, as in mean. Someday I'll be living in a big old city, and all you're ever going to be is mean. And I can see you years from now in a bar talking over a football game with that same big loud opinion, but nobody's listening. And washed up and ranting about the same old bitter things, drunk and grumbling about how I can't sing. I mean, this is really, now she's got an edge here, serious edge.
And let's take a moment, because I'm consistent and I'm not hypocritical. She doesn't have the most melodic vocals. She doesn't. She's not like a singer, but what she does is kind of this like sing rap thing, which I really dig, and it's very pop, and I'd much prefer to hear Taylor Swift sing that than Britney Spears pretend to sing. So, and I like Britney, don't get me wrong, but Britney is what Britney is.
Yeah, even if Taylor were not writing her own songs,
right.
Even if she were another Britney, here, sing this,
Yeah.
I know there are people going to howl and say, Britney writes songs. Well, I haven't really heard about it.
We're not saying she never does anything, but I'm just saying.
But as a singer-songwriter, she totally works.
By the way, hashtag free Britney. Let
free
her
Britney.
the fuck out. Come on.
I was going to say that before. Hashtag
Let
free
her
Britney.
the fuck out of this. I mean, for fuck's sake.
You actually scooped me on the free Britney. I was
I'm
going to
so
say the same
sorry.
thing. Hashtag free Britney. It's
Seriously.
in my notes. I'll show you.
Oh my God. Seriously, people. We just have to take a moment, because by the time this
is
airs,
not a joke, man.
I am hoping that this fucking thing is dissolved, because this poor girl, and everybody knew it. This Free Britney movement's been going on for years, because everybody knew that she was, being, tortured and stuff like that, made to work and all of that. And, I'm just grateful she's still with us. She didn't hurt herself or something, because that's just too much. And fuck her dad, and fuck all the people who did this to her. And I just am so glad when I heard her. I listened to her the entire thing she said to the judge. It was amazing. And finally, she stood up for herself. Like, I was so proud of her. What a terrifying moment, standing up to all that. So, free Britney. If she's not already free, I'm telling you right now, I'm not saying Britney's the best singer, but I love Britney's music, and she deserves to have, ownership over her own life again.
Well, it's just a question of right or wrong.
Wrong.
The woman can take care of herself, for heaven's sakes.
Thank you.
And I'm not blinded by any fan loyalty. I like a couple of her songs a lot.
For sure.
For which I give her really no particular credit, but she doesn't. She does okay with them.
She does.
But it's not a fan thing. It's just a question of right or wrong.
Right.
It's just she needs to be kind of cut loose from that.
For sure.
So Taylor would venture away from the mean to me thing and more owning up. I own that I fucked up and I made a bad choice.
For sure.
I knew you were trouble when you walked in, so shame on me now.
That's right.
That's really cool, I think.
But fool me once, not
fool
again.
Me once,
She's
right?
not going to let it happen again.
And spoofing her own reputation with exaggerated madness, as in the absolutely fantastic blank space. Find out what you want, be that girl for a month. Wait, the worst is yet to come. Screaming, crying perfect storms. I can make all the tables turn. Rose garden filled with thorns, keep you second guessing like, oh my God, who is she? I get drunk on jealousy. It's a really kick-ass song.
Good.
When she comes out and says, hey, I got a long list of ex-lovers, they'll tell you I'm insane. But I've got a blank space, baby, and I'll write your name. That is just brilliant. Absolutely fantastic.
Oh, so good.
And speaking of names, in the very edgy Look What You Made Me Do.
Oh, yes.
I don't like your perfect crime, how you laugh when you lie. You said the gun was mine. Isn't cool, no, I don't like you. But I got smarter. I got harder in the nick of time. Honey, I rose up from the dead. I do it all the time. I've got a list of names, and yours is in red, underlined. I would give anything to write a lyric like that. That's fucking fantastic.
You know what I really like about her? She reminds me of Avril Lavigne years ago. When she first came out, there were like these honest lyrics that, like, you know, teenagers going into like early adulthood and then really coming into their own. You know, you get to hear the angst of the teenager. You get to hear the fuck you, right, to all the people that bullied them, were mean to them, were shitty to them. And then you get to hear the, oh, okay, now I'm older and now I'm wiser. It's just really cool to see that evolution. And as sweet as Taylor used to be, I like that she's getting edgier and she's saying straight up, we're not mincing words. She's just saying, I don't like you. You're mean. I'll write your name. I'm going to shake this shit off. Believe what you want. It's just so refreshing.
And she could be downright threatening and
True.
scary. I mean, to have this skinny little blonde woman be so frightening and so menacing, and when she wants to be, she's got this. I love that little dark side. She's like, you don't want to let this out.
Don't mess with me. What do I always say?
But
this
beware.
reminds me of her, like, I'm very, very sweet, but don't fuck with me.
Yeah.
That's
right?
what I think. She's like, look, I'm super sweet, but don't fuck with me.
And the stardom thing. She has songs about being a big star.
Yeah.
Throwing big parties, jumping into the pool from the balcony, swimming in a champagne sea. There are no rules when you show up here. Feeling so Gatsby for that whole year. She's wild and lives like a rock star. She eviscerates treacherous associates with scalpel-sharp disses.
Seriously.
She says shit and fuck. I mean...
Come on.
You know, she might not have gone the hypersexual image route.
Which I appreciate. I don't think it's necessary.
Exactly. I mean, yes, the famous navel thing. She once said, no, you're never going to see it, never going to see it. Okay, eventually it came out. But she hasn't gone that way. This is not...
She's no Cardi B.
Yeah, she's no Cardi B. She hasn't gone that route. But nevertheless, this is not the fresh-faced high school girl everybody knew in 2006.
Nope.
Opening for country acts like Brad Paisley.
That's right.
She's a musically diverse and unpredictable, very self-aware and very talented icon, and I think that handle is beyond dispute. Since her Reputation Stadium tour, and I just found this out, wait for it, the highest-grossing North American tour of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Not hers, anyone's.
That's right.
She was on stage a few years back with the Rolling Stones. She actually outgrossed the Rolling Stones.
I have no doubt.
And I agree with one commentator who said, you know, if it weren't for the hordes of screaming tween-age girls in the audience... that really does kind of skew one's perspective. We wouldn't be talking about are these good songs or not. We'd be acknowledging that her songs are great. You know?
That's right. These girls that are screaming there, I grew up with her.
Yeah.
You know, and they said, yes, you're talking to me. You're talking about me. This is my experience. This is my life. Hell yeah.
There was a bunch of goofy screaming for the Beatles, too. And we're still listening to them 50 years later,
That's
60
right.
years later.
That's right.
So, you know, and I'm sure that I'm missing a hell of a lot by not simply... checking out her entire oeuvre on Spotify.
Well, one other thing that I have to say about her is there is just no disputing how absolutely stunningly beautiful she is. But she does not seem aware or to care that she is this just absolute gorgeous specimen. She just is like, look, I'm just like you. We're all in this together. You know what? We're doing this thing. But she is strikingly beautiful. And she's also a hell of an actress.
You know, I have not seen her in anything. I know she... really? Wow.
Yeah.
I got to get out
She's a hell of
more.
an
I'm missing all these performances here. Courtney Love and
she throws herself
Taylor.
into it. Very cool. But very, very good for our first Jaded. Brilliantly played. Thank you very much. Well, shit. I have to follow that up by announcing our next act, which isn't anything to be unkind about, though they are unkindness of ravens. The song is called Kiss of Death. And they are from Ireland. They're dark wave, gothic tinged, and doom. So, let's go ahead and whoosh out of here, and we'll come back having listened to Kiss of Death. Whoosh. All right, well, that was Kiss of Death by Unkindness of Ravens. I have crazy amounts of notes on this one. Wow, and it was an instrumental, right? So I bet you didn't expect that. I didn't even warn you. So I have to just say, I mean, it was ominous. The piano is just haunting. It was just killing me. This is like, I can see this, you know, as an elaborate stage production. Like, I just see it. Like, you know, like, they're having a whole concert and you just see all this spectacular imagery and you can feel the bass. It just, you know, you can feel it. It felt like an experience. I don't know. What were you thinking?
Well, it's funny because they used the word ominous too, so I'm going to have to switch from that now. But the whole thing, I was not expecting it to be an instrumental, no.
Right.
The whole thing had this real overture quality to it. And, you know, ominous, foreboding interlude there after the initial, romp. But it was all so theatrical. It was like something that the Phantom of the Opera would have written if things hadn't gone south for him so quickly. It was kind of like a collaboration between Black Sabbath and Andrew Lloyd Webber. You know, with a little bit of a Pink Floyd wrap-up at the end. It was really striking. It was engrossing. I mean, you could see the curtains almost beside you, and looking at the dark stage, and heaven only knows what's going on there, but it's spooky. Very powerful stuff. I loved it.
I really liked it.
I haven't personally had any kind of bad experience with Ravens as they have, but unkindness.
Apparently there's an unkindness.
There's an unkindness.
On
I made perhaps to each other. I've never had that. I mean, if they're unkind to you, you're kind of screwed. You know,
it's pretty bad to peck your eyes out.
Some Hitchcock shit. Yeah. But I loved it. Yeah,
I really liked the keys that were playing the really high pitch horror sound. It was just like unnerving. And there's a prog musicality to it that I really liked. And really a soundtrack to me to be murdered by, right? I mean, like, I just felt like bad shit was about to happen to me. And the other thing is I really liked what I am calling like the death rattle at the end. There was, you know, it came to an end, but there was just a little bit at the end, and then you went, oh, it's finally dead. So I do feel like it's like a soundtrack to Murder By, and I just loved it. I was over the moon when I heard this and thought, please let us play this. And they did. Very good stuff from Ireland. You can find them on Facebook at Unkindness of Ravens Band.
Maybe the Ravens got an attitude over there in Tipperary. Who knows? But
I believe they do.
I believe that's probably. I mean, it's a regional thing. It's nothing we can relate to. We wouldn't understand.
No, of course not.
All right, and well, it looks like a feature, but it's not my feature.
It is not. It is. I will do it better than Emu. So it's a question, right? For this feature, we discuss covers of songs that either rival or are better than the original, and we discuss them to determine whether we agree or disagree. And this time. Oh, yeah, I dared do it. That's right. I pulled out The Beatles, Gotta Get You Into My Life, covered by Earth, Wind, and Fire. So, I know how you feel about The Beatles, and I know that no one can do it better. But let's talk about this. This is considered one of the best, by many, covers. They say it might even, honestly, they say it actually bests the original. So let's talk about whether or not we believe that. So Got to Get You Into My Life, a great song, great vocals, really, really love it. One of my favorites probably by the Beatles. So when I listened to the Earth, Wind, and Fire version, which I had not heard until this feature,
wow.
And I was certainly surprised. It took me by surprise. I didn't know what they would do with it. I was shocked to see that. And I have some thoughts, but tell us a little bit about what your initial thoughts were when you saw this.
Well, of course, both of us love Earth, Wind, and Fire. And didn't now, because you're such a young thing and tender, you hadn't heard this before.
No.
But this was used in the motion picture, the most regrettable motion picture, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, along with a lot of other. I mean, this is the one with Peter Frampton and the Bee Gees and Aerosmith, and it was pretty horrendous. My sister was an extra on this film.
Oh,
and
was
she was she's hanging out with the Bee Gees. I mean, pictures of her with the Bee Gees and Frampton, and she knew all these guys. I think that may be where she got to be friends with George C. Scott too. I don't know, but it was even though he wasn't in the picture, that he would never be in a picture like that. It was so ridiculous. But great music in it, gotta say. And this is one hell of a version, and it infuses so much soul into what was a straight. This is classic McCartney. This is pure, unadulterated pop brilliance, and they put so much soul all over it. They retain enough of the melody, but it's so infectious and so wonderful. And it isn't that the Beatles can't be bested. I think David Bowie probably did with Across the Universe. And this is pretty damn close too. It's an apples and oranges, but man, sometimes I'm going to take the orange on this one. That would be them. But it's a brilliant version. What do you think?
Well, I am usually the one who's like, oh, this cover was great. It's the best one. I loved this cover. It was very different. So I did Earth, Wind & Fire, Beatles, right? I wanted to give them a couple times around because, you have that first response that is sometimes...
I've had decades to think of it,
I have not. So I thought, well, I better do a couple runs because what that first response is not always one to be trusted. So I went around again and I loved it. The horns, obviously staying very true to the Beatles because they have the horns in there, but just the way that they attack the song Earth, Wind & Fire, the way they introduced the song, and then I also watched them perform it. So I watched a performance of them doing it live, and just the soul is, like you said, it's just like nothing else. But when I put these side to side, I do prefer the Beatles version.
Yeah.
It's just, it's rock. I like the little rockiness about it. I like the vocals in it.
That guitar break is sweet.
Come on. Yeah. And the horns in it, all of it is just good. The harmonies, I like it all. Now, there is nothing wrong with the Earth, Wind & Fire version.
No.
And I will say, it's very like a... If I heard the Earth, Wind & Fire version first, I probably would like it better, but I really just love this one by the Beatles, and you can't mess with it. It's so good. But, God, that version just really got me, and I think I will be listening to it quite a few times now that I know it's there.
There are some interesting... the record is entirely different from the movie. There are some interesting... That's when we get to hear Aerosmith do Come Together.
Yes.
And there are some cheese fests on there, but...
of course.
You don't really need to hear George Burns singing Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite.
I don't.
Honestly, you don't.
I'm good.
But that stunning version by them. But yeah, of course I would pick the Beatles first. That's the way it was meant to be, but they did something with it I wouldn't have thought possible.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I thought, I'm not sure about this. I went into it very trepidatious and came out very surprised. So
trepidatious? Who says this? See, now I get to say it. Actually, I love that word. I use that
such
word
a great word. So I'll do it better than Emu? Not this time, but very close, Earth, Wind & Fire. Very valiant effort.
Good on you, mates.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? It's time for our last featured artist.
Right.
Wow. Okay, so this is going very well, I'll say.
Going through a lot of pencil lead here tonight.
So, this band is Carnival Leave, and the song is Wolf Dreams. They are from Minsk, and they are alternative gothic rock. And I will tell you, I'm very excited to let you listen to this one. Remember, I listen to all of these once because I listen to our submissions and or go out and seek new bands every couple of weeks, just because I like to see what's new out there.
But she assures us she's not premeditating any fancy schmancy sounding notes.
Nope, not at all.
This is just as raw as I'm like flying by the seat of my pants writing stuff down. Okay.
That's correct. Ask him. I'm sitting here writing feverishly. In fact, I will show him my mental patient notes on the songs.
Oh my goodness.
That's a lot. Do you see that? So I am not lying. There was nothing premeditated.
Is that like Sanskrit or something? Or
It is my own language.
Yeah.
I don't want you to be able to read it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like my way of hiding my paper from you. All right, well, let's take leave and go listen to Carnival Leave. Whoosh.
Oh.
I'm trying to fall asleep, my memory's clear. The secrets of the silence will be revealed. The ring of fog around me still is the sea. The void left by the vultures is all I see.
All right. That was Carnival Leave with Wolf Dreams. Well, I certainly have a lot to say about this song. I will say that introduction is perfect with the vocals over it. It was sparse. I really love her voice. I thought it was really pretty. It's also very like symphonic metal. There's prog nods in it. It's dark, but you get the musicianship is certainly on point. It's catchy, yet it's hard and unexpected. So I dug that. I mean, I have more to say, but what say you?
Well, yeah, you mentioned how it opened and everything, and that really impressed me. That trebly bass, which is being played in such a way that it sounds like echoes, sounds like ripples going across bump, bump, bump. It's just brilliant. Oh, and that fantastic female vocal, as you said, very chilling, a real plaintive melody, nice melody. And then comes this thing that sounds like a cross between an electric guitar and an industrial press, and it's so heavy, and the song just bowls you over for almost the remainder of it with some very well-spaced stops and breaks, like a metallic juggernaut, and it was just a powerful song, and begun to perfection. I think leading off like they did was a good move, and it was brilliant.
I love that she didn't oversing. She just sang the song. She has a pretty voice, but not too pretty. It still has an edgy, like harder edge to it, which I like.
Oh, yeah.
I think it works with the music. I don't want it to be too pretty. But I like that she's singing. I appreciate that very much. And I really did like that we started off with the bass and it invited us in, and then it showed us out at the end. It showed us the door. I really liked this one. I was really pleased to have happened upon it. I think it has kind of all the things that I like, at least in an alternative kind of goth rock song. Even having a little bit more where it had prog and it had a little symphonic rock and it had a little bit of everything in it. So I was definitely excited about this. The musicianship is really good, and I am going to certainly seek out more by Carnival Leave.
Nice. Now, surely you're not telling me it's time for a recurring feature.
I'm not telling you anything.
You don't have to tell me. That's what the format is for.
Ah.
Everyone knows this one as History Strikes Back. For this feature, we travel back in time to a particular year to review bands, music charts, and pop culture for a randomly selected year from 1950 to 2021. 2021. Who the hell came up with that? Okay. We'll have to talk about that one. I was doing an earlier cutoff, but I suppose, yes, we could end up talking about Kid Cudi or Post Malone. Who knows? Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. All right. Well, and now we've covered a number of years, and they are kind of finite. And I was in a place that had no signal, and I had been waiting for a certain year to pop up. And since I didn't have signal to operate the random number generator, the official random number generator, I thought, okay, I'm just going to help it along and jump in on the missing year, 1969, which we've been waiting for because we have to get to it eventually, and it was a very momentous year. So, in the overall world scene, and I remember this because I was 8, so I actually have first-hand recollections of this year. Richard Nixon was sworn in as president. That's how long ago it was. The draft was implemented. What the hell? Rolling Stone guitarist Brian Jones died, and Mick Taylor joins the band, ushering in, to my way of thinking, the golden era of the band. Elvis recorded some comeback albums. He had been off the charts for 7 years, and they yielded the hits Suspicious Minds, In the Ghetto, and Kentucky Rain. Beatles gave their last public performance on the rooftop, which became the film Let It Be. And they also took the iconic Abbey Road photo, and which was released. The album was released to mixed reviews. I mean, seriously? Mixed reviews for Abbey Road? What in the hell were they looking for? And a tragedy that unfortunately bears mentioning, historic occurrence, the Tate LaBianca murders perpetrated by the Manson family, and that happened in 1969. And the Woodstock Festival, and a bunch of dirty, stinking hippies got to see performances by Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, The Who, Sly and the Family Stone, Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young, the band Jefferson Airplane, Santana, etc. Get this, and for something completely different, Monty Python's Flying Circus premiered on television.
That was a good year. That
changed everything, you know. And most importantly, both Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips and Long John Silver's opened for the first time. And I actually have down here the opening of 2 seafood restaurants, and damn near forgot to mention the moon landing. Yeah, that happened too.
Oh.
I mean, fish and chips, the moon.
I mean, throw the moon in there.
I mean, we've been to the moon already, but you can go out and get. And you're not going to the moon, but you can go out and get fish and chips right now.
Perfect.
So it's kind of makes it a little more relevant. Oh, and Scooby-Doo premieres. Scooby-Doo.
Ruh-roh.
Who went on in 2015, I believe it was, to do animated special with Kiss. Yes, the Kiss tie-in for real. And it's one you got to see. In the movies.
I'm going to just take your word for it.
Honest, it's awesome.
I'm good.
Movies. And I remember, and growing up as a theater brat, I guess that's a thing, with my mom running movie theaters, I saw all these things. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, The Love Bug. Now, we just saw an old Volkswagen Beetle tonight, and both of us, like a couple of dorks, are like, Herbie,
Yeah,
But this
very
was,
similar.
This was the year, and get this, an X-rated film actually won Best Picture. Excuse me? Yes, Midnight Cowboy.
Oh, my.
Dustin Hoffman, John Voight. Everybody's talking at me. Classic. Not that I've ever seen it, but I mean, it's a great song. Haven't seen it, no. The most coherent and rational and easy to understand film of all time, Easy Rider.
No decoder ring needed.
And I can't tell you how many times I watched Hello Dolly. I mean, come on. Classic. Paint Your Wagon. Now, this is how you do a musical. One of my favorite musicals of all time. You cast as stars Lee Marvin and Clint Eastwood. Now, that's how you do a musical, but it's a great picture. True Grit. John Wayne won his Oscar. Cactus Flower. Goldie Hawn won her Oscar, or at least one of them anyway. On television, General Hospital. That hasn't changed.
Nope, still on television.
Get Smart, The Flying Nun. Come on now.
Oh, Sally Field.
Sally Field. She was so adorable. Green Acres. Rona Martin's Laughing.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't help
No,
it.
that was, yes, The Chores. The Stores. Lawrence Welk, The Beverly Hillbillies. About a man named Jed. Carol Burnett Show. Mission Impossible. Dun, 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 dun. We're doing this. Right,
I know.
sorry.
What's going on?
I Dream of Jeannie. Oh, come on. That's television. This was the golden age right here. Adam 12 and, of course, American Bandstand. But
We're going hopping.
we're going hopping today. Things are popping. Now, that's the Barry Manilow version, right? Because it didn't have lyrics before that, or did it? Mr. Dick Clark. Yes, I know. Isn't that sad?
I miss Dick.
Music. Now, you want to talk about...
really bad.
How long has it been?
I really miss
long
Dick.
time. It's been a really long time since there was no Dick.
Since there was no Dick.
No Dick?
Yeah, there's been no Dick for a while.
Talk about debuts. We've got them this year. The Jackson 5.
Oh, my gosh.
The record was actually called Diana Ross Presents the Jackson 5, if you please.
I'm just saying, well, if she does, then that gives them credence.
Hell yeah. Janis Joplin's first solo album after leaving Big Brother and the Holding Company. Also, acts that we associate with the 70s actually started in 1969, several of them. Now, you young things and tender might think of the 70s as like the Civil War. Like, nobody left from that period is still alive, But actually, a number of these acts are still alive and performing. Led Zeppelin released their first and second albums in 1969. Alice Cooper, the band, released the first of 2 psychedelic experimental albums nobody liked before Bob Ezrin came along and straightened them out. And Alice's Detroit buddies, the Stooges, MC5 that year, Mott the Hoople.
Oh, wow.
Allman Brothers Band, all the same year.
Wow.
And psychedelic and experimental music gave way to deliberately high-minded art music that we now call progressive rock.
Oh,
and we got debuts from the highfalutin likes of Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
And Genesis and King Crimson.
Oh, my God.
God.
That's a banner fucking year,
Right?
I tell you.
A little more down to earth. We had Joe Cocker, Rod Stewart, James Gang, Chicago, Grand Funk Railroad, who, like Led Zeppelin, released 2 albums that year.
Damn.
Leslie what's it?
Overachievers.
I'm telling you, these
Jeez.
guys. Leslie West, who put out an album called Mountain before actually starting a band called Mountain.
Lost him not too long ago.
Yes, we did.
Very sad.
My first guitar hero. Santana and Elton John also premiered in 1969, who are very much with us still. All right, and the songs. What about the hit songs?
Uh-oh.
Let's see how much...
Uh-oh, the egg.
The egg. Let's see how much you know, Sugar. In fact,
right.
that's a bit of a hint if you know this hit by the Archies. Honey, dun, 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 dun. Oh, sugar, sugar, dun, 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 dun. Come on, you know you love
Come
that
on,
song.
I do.
You gotta. Sly and the Family Stone was a real big thing with us back then. You know Everyday People? I am everyday people. Yeah.
I love that song.
Awesome. How about Tommy James and the Shondells? Crimson and Clover. Weird how that was also covered by Joan Jett, along with Everyday People.
That's a good song.
Oh, yeah, hell yeah. Youngbloods. Come on, people now. Smile on your brother. Everybody get together. Try and love one another right now. Well played, Missy.
Hey, mic drop.
All right, Elvis Presley, Suspicious Minds. Caught in a trap. I can't walk out. Because I love you too much, baby. Awesome.
Love.
Neil Diamond, you know the one. Sweet. Oh.
You didn't let me start it.
Yeah. All right, Neil Diamond, Sweet Caroline. Sweet Caroline. Ba, ba, ba. Good times never seem so good.
So good. Oh, sorry.
That song
that's the
is
callback.
so good.
Yes.
There's a callback there?
Oh, yeah. In karaoke, there's a callback. And also if you go to the ballpark, apparently.
Man. Come on, you gotta know Stevie. My Cherie Amour, something that I adore. All right. Now, if I say the Zombies, people say, the Zombies, who's that? It's the time of the season for loving. What's your name? Who's your daddy? Is he rich like me?
Isn't that an American Graffiti?
No, it's too late for American Graffiti. Yeah, no, it's probably in a movie.
It must be.
Time of the
I love
Season.
that song.
Oh yeah.
Whenever that comes on, I'm down.
A karaoke classic by The Doors. I'm gonna love you till the heavens stop the rain. I'm gonna love you till the stars fall from the sky for you and karaoke classic of all time, man. And one last one, I think, from Spiral Staircase. Again, you go, who, what, but I love you more today than yesterday.
I don't know any more than that.
Oh, no? But not as much as tomorrow. I knew you knew.
Yes,
I know. Anyway, I mean, there were songs.
So much encouragement. Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
Look at that encouragement.
So many songs. I mean, we're talking the Stone Age here. We're talking 52 years ago.
Damn.
And, uh-oh. No one will never forget there's many, many versions of it, but Marvin Gaye, I heard it through the grapevine, not much longer would you be mine. Classic. Well, it was just
honey,
what the words are, but they're really cool, baby. I love it. And so much more, but time fails us to explore the wonders of the music of 1969, but history strikes back. It was quite a time to be around. Some heavy stuff going on and everything, but when you're 8 years old, it really doesn't affect you that much, so I was having a pretty good time, yeah.
I was having oh no, I wasn't around yet.
Yeah, you weren't having a time. Yeah.
I wasn't having any time. Well, all right, History Strikes. It's everyone's favorite feature, well, next to Various and Hummingbirds, of course. The new theme.
This is not based on any empirical evidence.
Of course not. No, of course not. Yeah, it's empirical. All right. So the new theme is another Freebird, only because we want to be fair to all the genres that we can. And this time it's Americana. This is a hybrid of folk, country, blues, rhythm, bluegrass, Appalachian, rock and roll, and of course, gospel. Some great examples, in my humble opinion, are Johnny Cash, John Mellencamp, Casey Musgraves, Tom Waits, Joan Baez, Bob Dylan, Brittany Howard, Lucinda Williams, the Lumineers, Mumford & Sons, and of course, many, many more. So send us your Americana. Do it now. Don't delay. Even if you don't make Americana music, please pass it on to somebody who does. We want to hear what you have to offer. And both of us actually really like Americana.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, we do. And I remember last time we had some Americana from like Europe, which was pretty funny.
Yes, I dig it.
Hey, if you can make the Americana sound, we don't care where you're from. Yeah.
I don't care where you're from. Absolutely. I am now, I just realized that I am my own segue to parting is such sweet sorrow.
Ouch.
I know that was a mistake.
Yeah.
That was a mistake. So parting, as I said, is such sweet sorrow that I shall say goodnight till it be morrow next week, as we mentioned. So ask not what your birds can do for you, but what you can do for your birds. For hell yes or hell no, tell us what you think of earth, wind, and fire.
We've definitely outed ourselves on this one.
We did. Yeah, we absolutely did. But that doesn't matter. Like you care.
Yeah, exactly.
You're still going to tell us what you think.
It doesn't affect your votes.
That's correct. We want to know what you think. Your opinions are they matter? We care. We want to know. And if you agree, disagree, that's great. Let's do it. So David is going to tell you what else you can do for your birds. David?
I am?
Supposed to play along, dude.
Oh. Well, the other thing that you can do is to tune in to the next What the Flock Radio's Birds of a Feather. Next offering is a new episode of Winging It. And remember, your boys are coming at you every week. Subscribe to our feed at BOAF On Air. That's BOAF On Air.podbean.com. And enable notifications so you never miss a show, or subscribe and listen on your favorite platform, which may, up to and including but not limited to, sorry, I'm forgetting which teacher term to use.
Including love?
Yeah, including but not limited to, because who knows how many there are out there. Apple Podcast, Spotify, Audible on Amazon, Deezer, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and having come to the end of the road, to the end of the line, to the end of the trail, as it were, that only leaves for you to say,
let's get the flock out of here.
This has been Birds of a Feather on What the Flock Radio.